Okay, by now I'm sure everyone has seen the mess that was the Crunchyroll Anime Awards of 2022. Yeah, this award show definitely wasn't as bad as some of the others in the past, but it definitely did have some issues that could have definitely been fixed quite easily. So I took it upon myself to write a list of all the things that I think could have been fixed in this year's Anime Awards, and we're going to go through that right now. But before we get into the list, I need to explain how the votes are tallied up. Okay, so there is a 70% majority vote for the judges, and a lot of people didn't know that. But basically, what that means is that let's just say everyone in the public, so people who weren't judges, voted Odd Taxi for Best Anime, so Anime of the Year. If the judges had not watched Odd Taxi and they had decided that they wanted to vote Jujutsu Kaisen because that's what they've all watched, Jujutsu Kaisen would have won, even though the public wanted Odd Taxi to win. I'm sure we can all see the issues with that. If you can't, I will be explaining them later. I just needed to clarify that because I will be bringing this up a lot throughout the video and I didn't want to keep explaining myself. So, yeah. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's time to get into my first fix. Okay, first fix, and this should have been a given, but apparently Crunchyroll didn't think of this, so I'm here to say it now. We need to make sure that all the judges have watched all the shows before they're allowed to vote. The reason why I say this is because I feel like if you're including judges in order for it to not become a popularity contest, it makes no sense that the judges are allowed to watch just the most popular anime and then vote for which one they like the most out of those. It doesn't make any sense. And it's so unfair because I feel like if you excluded the judges, it would have been a more fair result because you get votes from a variety of different people all over the world. So yeah, if you're going to include judges, make sure they've watched all of the shows. I don't know why that wasn't a rule before, but apparently it's not. So yeah, make sure you watch all the shows. Okay, the second fix is to get rid of the judges' majority altogether. I personally think that the only thing judges are really needed for is for the nominees. Apart from that, there is no point of giving them a majority vote because they're just anime watchers with a platform. If you look at the judges list, a lot of the judges are just anime watchers with a platform, just like us. And then you include the fact that they don't even have to watch all the shows, it makes absolutely no sense for them to have a majority. Like, yes, it's a popularity contest, but that is okay. I don't think there's a problem with it being a popularity contest. And I think that there are things that could be done in order to make it not a popularity contest that I'm going to get into later. But I don't think that there's a problem with it being a popularity contest. But if you're going to make it a popularity contest, do it properly. If it's popularity contest, don't give people who are just like us a majority vote. It makes no sense. So yeah, that's the second fix. I Out of all of them, I think this is the one that should be implemented the most. Yeah. Just to add, if you're going to give a majority vote, I think it could be done well. I think if you give the vote to people who actually work in the anime industry or have watched all the shows and have a very extensive knowledge of anime, then that could be fine. That could be better. But the way it's done right now is not right. It's not. Or you can give the majority vote to people who have an extensive knowledge in a certain genre. So let's just say best fantasy genre. If there is someone who, maybe a content creator who watches a lot of fantasy anime, then yeah, you can give them a majority vote or that group of people a majority vote when it comes to best fantasy, but maybe don't give them the majority vote when it comes to romance. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be done well. It's just right now the way they're doing it is not it. I think one example of the judges' majority would be Slime winning Best Fantasy, like I just mentioned. I think if there wasn't a judges' majority and it was just up to, the regular viewers like me and you, I think Mishoka Tensei definitely would have taken that. Again, another example would be Best Character Design. I don't think that if the public were voting for that, Jujutsu Kaisen would have won because out of that list, I definitely think that Jujutsu Kaisen had some of the weakest character design, and I think other people would agree with me on that. So yeah, I don't see why there is a judges majority when it's still a popularity contest. Just look at how many awards Demon Slayer won, like, and it wasn't even a season; it was for the movie. So yeah, get rid of the judges majority. It's clearly not changing the fact that um it still is a popularity contest. So if we're gonna make a popularity contest, just make it a pure popularity contest. 100% people's choice. Okay, for the third fix, this is a pretty simple one. And that is take my idea with making the judges people who work in the industry or people who have a very large, extensive knowledge of anime or people who have a large, extensive knowledge in a certain genre. Make those guys the judges and then split the votes between people's choice and the judges' choice so that we can see who won both. I think that would be the most ideal thing. I think that would work the best. It might be a bit longer to tally up and everything, but I think it's still the most effective method if you don't want it to be a popularity contest. So we can have one side that's the popularity contest and then one side that's actual judges seeing what they think was the best out of each category. Okay, for the fourth fix and from now on, it's more about how to prevent it from being a popularity contest in terms of the actual nominees. Okay, this one is my personal opinion. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I don't think sequels should be nominated unless it's absolutely necessary. For example, next year the Demon Slayer Entertainment District arc is going to be nominated for Best Animation, definitely. I do think it deserves to be nominated there. That's an example of when it is necessary, but I think there are some categories where the popular anime don't need to be there. Just leave it to the smaller anime that came out this year. A good example of this would be Best Fantasy, Slime Season 2 1. I don't even think Slime should have been there because it is a Season 2. Now, if it was Season 1, then that's fine, but I don't think it's fair to nominate Season 2s because they have more time to generate more fans. And if it's a very popular show, then it's going to win every year. The other shows, except Mushoku Tensei, had no chance against Slime. And if it's nominated next year, again, it might not have a chance against that season as well. So I don't think it's fair to nominate those shows, in my opinion. Another example of this is for Anime of the Year. Jujutsu Kaisen was nominated again. That wasn't even a season 2. That was the same season that won last year. I don't know why that was there. That made absolutely no sense to me. Same with Ranking of Kings. It's not a season 2, but it hasn't finished. And I will make that point next, but I don't think that unfinished shows should be nominated for anything. I think if a show is unfinished, it should be nominated for the next year when it's completely finished. Because what if Ranking of Kings won and it won the egg on us? It would have won Anime of the Year and then everyone would have hated it by the end. Again, with Attack on Titan Season 1, Part 1, I don't think Part 1 should have been nominated. I think they should have waited till next year and nominated Attack on Titan final season together as one part. Even though it was split into two parts, I think it should have all been nominated together because it is the same season. Okay, next fix. I think there should be more spaces added for Anime of the Year because especially for years like this year where there were a lot, or last year where there were a lot of anime that came out and a lot of good ones that came out, the category for Anime of the Year only having 6 nominations, I don't think it's enough to wrap up all of the great anime that came out during that year. Maybe we can leave the other categories with 6 nominations and then give Anime of the Year maybe 8 or 10 nominees. I think that would make a lot more sense than having just 6. I don't think 6 is enough. Of course, we can't have too many nominations because then again, it splits it up a bit too much and it makes it not as accurate because there are people who would want to vote for more than one show. But I do think that that is a better alternative to what we have now because you can't show all of the best anime of the year in just 6 nominees. Especially when you include sequels, especially when you include different calls, I don't think it's fair to just give it 6 nominations. But that might just be me. Let me know what you think about that. I don't know if anyone else will agree with me on that one, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, for my last main fix 6, I'm just gonna reiterate the point that I don't think that unfinished shows should be included, and I don't think that different calls should be included. I mean, that's fine if you want. No, no, no. I don't think unfinished shows should be included at all. I was gonna say that maybe for categories like best animation and best character design. But no, I think that they should be waited. You should wait for them to finish and then include them in the next year. The only downside with that, I'd say, is people would forget it because they do start airing during the previous year. But I don't know. I don't think it's right to include a show that hasn't finished yet. And then I don't think it's right to not nominate a show at all because it hasn't finished. So yeah. That one is a bit of a techie one. I do see why, now that I'm like actually speaking out loud, I do see why they might choose to just nominate it for this year. But I personally don't think that's right. I personally don't think that should be done. Okay, the last fix I have for you guys is a bit of a random one. I don't. This is the one I don't care if they do or not, but it's just an idea I just thought of. There should be a category for best isekai. I don't watch isekai a lot, but I can admit that there are too many isekais that come out every year for there to not be a separate category for isekais. The fact that isekais are just bunched up with other fantasies doesn't make sense to me because they're not the same. There are fantasies that aren't isekais, but most isekais are fantasies. I don't know. I think there should definitely be a section for best isekai. I don't know why that hasn't been done already. I know a lot of people would love that category. So yeah, again, I don't really care if this one is done or not, but it's just something I thought of randomly. The only issue I can think of that is no. I was gonna say that if they include sequels, it might overshadow, but I don't know. I think people who watch Isekai watch all of them. Like people who watch Isekai watch every single Isekai that comes out that year. So I don't think that'll be much of an issue. Okay, guys, if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you so much for getting this far in the video. This is my first ever YouTube video, so it might be like not as great as the ones that I'll make in the future, but thank you anyway for watching. If you have any ideas as to any things that can be fixed that I didn't include, comment them down below. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment. It would mean the world to me, and see you in the next video. Bye.